All right, let's talk about the great myth of flexibility. You know the pitch. Be adaptable. Become a T-shaped person. Wear multiple hats. It's the official career advice handed down from every leadership seminar. Sounds like the ultimate key to success, doesn't it? But what if I told you that being flexible might be the very thing that keeps you stuck in your career? Stay with me and I'll show you how. I'm here to tell you it's often a trap. One of the most elegant and invisible traps the system has. Think about it. You're the person who can code, handle the client call, and fix the presentation deck. You're invaluable. The ultimate team player. The Swiss Army knife. Congratulations. You have just made yourself incredibly difficult to promote. Let that sink in. Your versatility, your flexibility, the very thing you were told to cultivate, has a hidden price tag. And that price is called being unclassifiable. Here's a quick test. Be honest. When a big promotion or a choice project comes up, who actually gets it? Is it the brilliant, unpredictable creative? Sometimes. Is it the purely connected networker? Occasionally, but most often it's the person who fits perfectly into a pre-existing box, the definitive expert, the archetypal leader. But here's the catch. The system isn't just ignoring the flexible ones, it's actively pushing them out. Let me explain why. The system has a problem with people like you. It doesn't know what to do with you. See, large organizations don't run on talent. They run on categories. They run on process. They have neat, tidy boxes, engineering ladder, sales track, product management, career path. Your entire HR system, your budget, your promotion quotas, they're all built around these boxes. But what happens when you don't fit neatly into a box? The system doesn't just leave you behind, it locks you in place. Let me show you why. Now you walk in. You're not just an engineer. You're an engineer who understands sales nuance and has product vision. Fantastic for the business, a nightmare for the system. Because now the manager has to think, where do I put him? If I put him on the engineering promo list, the committee will say he's not a pure coder. If I nominate him for a product role, they'll say he lacks the formal title. It creates mental friction. It creates administrative overhead, and the system hates friction. So what's the path of least resistance? The simplest, most energy-efficient solution for the system? It's not to fight for you. It's not to create a new box just for you. That's too much work. The simplest solution is to leave you right where you are, to keep you in your current, vaguely defined utility role. You become the permanent firefighter, the go-to problem solver. You get a nice bonus, maybe a pat on the back. We couldn't do it without you. But you don't get the new title. You don't get moved into the official leadership pipeline. But here's the hidden cost. The system doesn't just ignore you. It builds a future where you can never escape this role. Let me show you how. You become what I call a pending file. Imagine a giant library. Every book has a place. History, science, fiction. Now, a book arrives that's a historical novel with a philosophical thesis. The librarian looks at it, sighs. It doesn't fit. So instead of rewriting the entire cataloging system, they put it on a cart in the back room. The pending cart. It's still in the library. It might even be a great book, but no one browsing the shelves will ever accidentally find it. That's you on the organizational pending cart. Your skills aren't being denied, they're being sidelined because they complicate the sorting algorithm. This isn't a new problem. A Chinese strategist named Han Feizi figured this out 2,300 years ago. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, "What cannot be clearly defined cannot be reliably used as a basis for power or reward." The ruler needs to know what a person is in order to know what to do with them. Clarity is control. Ambiguity is risk. Your flexibility is ambiguity. Let me give you a real example. A woman I knew, let's call her Rebecca, worked at a major firm. She could strategize, write, analyze data, and manage client relationships. Everyone said she was amazing. Rebecca is so valuable. But come promotion season, strategy said she wasn't a pure strategist. Creative said she wasn't a pure writer. Account management said she wasn't a pure client lead. 10 years later, her peers who had drilled deep into one single box were directors and VPs. Rebecca was still a senior specialist, a title that basically means we don't know what else to call you. Her verdict still stings. The biggest penalty for being versatile is that nobody thinks you completely belong to them. The system's resources flow through predefined channels. The budget for tech raises is in the tech channel. The slots for sales leadership are in the sales channel. If you're straddling two channels, you're in neither. You're in the desert between them. So, what's the point? Am I telling you to stop learning, to stop being useful? No. I'm telling you to see the game for what it is. The advice to be flexible is usually given by the system, but the system only rewards flexibility on its own terms, within a defined lane. The rock star engineer who also communicates well gets promoted in engineering. The sales rep who understands the product gets promoted in sales. But the person who is genuinely a hybrid, the one who could legitimately do 2 or 3 different jobs, that person terrifies the architecture of control. That person is harder to replace, harder to evaluate, and therefore, paradoxically, harder to advance. Understanding this is the first step in Module C, Role and Identity Traps. We've seen how the system prices your behavior and puts hidden costs on your choices. Now we see how it takes your very strengths and uses them to build your cage. Your flexibility can become a box labeled miscellaneous. And the most insidious part, the next trap is even more personal, because it's built on something you definitely consider a strength. In our next video, we'll break down the second law of this module, why being reliable traps you. We'll look at why your rock-solid dependability, the trait that makes everyone trust you, is the very thing that can nail your feet to the floor. How the system banks on your consistency while quietly revoking your ticket to move. If you want to see how these traps connect, how the game is really played, you'll want to see that. It's one thing to be ignored for being hard to classify. It's another to be actively held down for being too good. But there's one more trap left to uncover. Why being too good at your job can make you a target, and how the system uses your excellence to keep you from moving forward. Stay tuned for the next episode. That's next. If you're seeing the pattern, you'll want to be there for it.